And Messi, is he smart? But would you put Messi in front of a class in a university? Probably not. But would you put Einstein in the center of the midfield player of Barcelona? Probably also not. So and then we talk to people in professional sports and we say, okay, what makes a professional player? And then they say things like, in the end, it's in the head. The difference is made in the head. BrainsFirst is a company that was founded by neuroscientists, and what we do is we try to say something about talents in sports and also in business by looking at brain metrics.
How does it work?
How does it work? Well, basically we have a simple battery of task games which people can do online through a tablet or a laptop, and these games are tailored around tests that were validated in neuroscience, and they tap into really low-level features that say something about brain skills. For instance, the ability to remember a lot, the ability to respond fast to incoming information, the ability to adjust your plan to depending on new information, for instance. And we record all these different metrics, and these metrics we use to make a sort of unique brain profile of a person. And that brain profile we match against benchmarks we set with companies and sports clubs.
So what kind of, you're talking about sport clubs, I know in soccer?
Yes. We started off actually in sports. Yeah. We started off with a simple question: what is it to be smart? So basically the prejudice in football in Holland is that soccer players are basically stupid. But if you look at a midfield player, what this player is doing is not stupid at all. It's really smart. So we started off with that question, and then we started off with like thought experiments like, Einstein is smart, right? And Messi, is he smart? But would you put Messi in front of a class in a university? Probably not. But would you put Einstein in the center of the midfield player of Barcelona? Probably also not. So and then we talk to people in professional sports and we say, okay, what makes a professional player? And then they say things like, in the end, it's in the head. The difference is made in the head. And then we started asking questions, okay, but what is it then? And then they talk about sport intelligence or football intelligence, and actually the definitions are really different, and they don't know, but they know it's there. And then we started off with that. So now we have already been working with professional sport clubs for 6 years, the oldest one, AZ. And what we do is we measure these young players, and we try to follow them throughout their career, and we try to see indeed if the difference indeed is made in the brain. And actually we find out that it's contributing a lot to assessing whether a player is suitable to be a professional player. And then we move to business, and basically we do the same there.
So it's the same, and you can also follow talents within businesses?
Yeah, well, we started off basically with the same, recruitment. So we go to a company, we discover together with the company through different ways what are the brain metrics that actually drive success, whether it's consultancy or ethical hacking or air traffic control. We have all these different, and then we come up with a sort of fingerprint, and then they can use it really easily in the dashboard to match incoming talents against this benchmark, and then they have simply one number score which they can use to support decisions. I will invite these people to my table. It's a single metric. It's one of the things that are important, but we think it's actually a really crucial part. Hence our company name, BrainsFirst. Start with the brain.
What kind of companies are using it?
Differs a bit between, well, it's all a bit in the what we call high cognitive functions, like strategy consultancy, ethical hacking, air traffic control, legal, companies like that, financial trading. So what we do is these all have have really high demands on the people that work there, right? And together with these companies, we try to discover whether there indeed is a pattern, because we're data driven. And if that's not the case, then we just stop. But if it is the case, then and we have a nice benchmark, then we can go further and help them get more and more relevant information about the people that apply for jobs there.
Yeah. So more relevant information. Are there other key benefits?
There's a huge upside for the candidate himself, because they also get a report in the end, and then they can learn a bit about basically the hidden drivers of what makes their brain unique. We find almost always that everybody has some brain skills that are exceptionally good, which is quite striking actually. And instead of fighting the things that you're less good at, we think it's better that you just basically try to almost exploit the brain skills that come natural to you. And that's a benefit for the candidate. And once a candidate, for instance, is hired, HR together with candidates can take this report and basically turn it around, like use it to craft a job around the candidate. Because even a candidate with an 80% score will have some skills that are, for instance, not so beneficial in a job setting. For instance, take me. I'm a pretty good coder and a good developer, but I crash in like spaces like this with a lot of people because my attention span, I'm so easily distracted. And I can easily hack myself into a good situation by putting myself in a quiet room, putting a noise cancelling headphone on. And these tricks like this, and this is a really simple example, but can be really beneficial for both the employee and HR to maximally make the match, to maximize the match basically, to craft the job around the applicants.
What's the roadmap for next year, 2019?
So, yeah, well, basically we finished the automation of our platform. And we are basically in the scaling up phase. So we're hitting the gas now in terms of sales and partnerships, and are developing what we call industry standards, benchmarks that we can take out of a drawer, for instance. We have a couple of those, but adding those. Do some international work and also try to come up with R&D, because we are heavily in R&D. We are working on methods to say something about team performance, and also further up in the roads, whether you can come back to this report and your profile further up in your career in a company. For instance, decide whether you should take a different direction within a company or do some schooling or whatever.
Last question. What's the thing on your head?
That's an EEG system. Actually, I'm recording my data now. Sorry, I have to log in. I'm recording my brain data. We also do some R&D on EEG. Of course, you will see that the visualization is now lost. No, I'm not dead. Actually, there's data. But what we also do is do proper neuroscience. We are linked to the university, and we are working to see whether things like this, which record actual brain activity, can contribute, for instance, to insights about stress management or team performance, and see whether these metrics actually can be used can be applied. Because in neuroscience we use far more sophisticated things like this, you know, with all these different like 64 electrodes, etc. But that's not so applicable.
Yes.
So you only should use it when it actually makes sense. But maybe it makes sense. We think that it could make sense in terms of stress and burnout and stuff like that. And we are exploring whether we can make products with real brain batteries alongside our battery.
Thank you.
You're welcome.